others. And alternatives. But we're fortunate that we have the funds to make this happen. We've looked at all the alternatives, and again, it's our recommendation that the commission approve this contract. We have people here to answer any questions that you might have.
Yeah, hi Jeff, this is Tim. I've got a question for you.
Sure.
Couple of things on here. Thanks for putting this together. Thanks for the meetings. And I've read through AMS's proposal on what they want to do, but a couple things. Initially, when I read through the report, it said it should be a problem taken care of in a few months with the odor gone within 30 days. I think what you just said was this would all be taken care of and done in less than 30 days. Which one of the two is it?
I'll let Bo mention he's the one. And when I indicated the amazing thing to me is that, and I'll turn it over to you, is the sludge will be done, lowered, and so that eliminates any, knock on wood, future cost of cleaning out the sludge. But Bo, you want to comment on that?
It's basically what happens is as we put the microbes into your system, they will they will consume BOD and COD as they multiply in there. That being said, your smell, the last one that I had was like yours, was Hallsville, Texas. We just got done with them last spring. It was a situation where the town was, well, I thought they was going to bring pitchforks into the meeting. But anyway, we had the smell gone in about 2 weeks, and we had all the sludge removed in about 60 days.
Okay, next question, Jeff, as this goes on, and even if this is a good fix and the sludge is removed and everything, I know you mentioned earlier that ADM is talking about backing off on what they're sending us, but my big concern is looking at the price in this agreement, and I'm sure the other commissioners have it too. If we clean this out, but if we do continue to take on the same volume, won't we find ourselves in the exact same position that we're in right now? Again, I mean, it's almost like, you know, draining the debris after the flood, but then another flood coming in after that.
Well, I think I'll defer to you.
Well, I think the question is not all this debris is ADM. I mean, when was this lagoon ever desludged? Has this lagoon ever been desludged?
Yes,
10 years ago?
20 years ago,
Okay.
2002. So there's a lot of variables in this, but the constant is we have to maintain this lagoon. And the life cycle of these lagoons are 20 years. So this lagoon needs the sludge removed from it anyway. Luckily, we do have the funds. The part with ADM that we have to understand is they want this fixed also, and they want to be able to lower their accounts because the price that they're giving to us, they cannot afford it either because they are giving us a lot of funding for what they are getting out of their lagoons also. So they want to make improvements. They want to get better quality of water over to Fort Scott, which in turn will help us. But yes, the sludge has to be removed. No matter if we had ADM, if we had whoever, the sludge has got to be removed or the problem will not be fixed.
I guess my question is,
Brad, I'm not singling out ADM. I'm just saying is if it's an ongoing, if it's fixed, but if a situation like this happens again, could we find ourselves right back in the same boat even sooner than the time frame that has passed since last time it was desludged?
Go ahead.
Mike, I don't know if you can answer that. I mean, is will it, 20 years is the standard, will this be, if we keep getting the same amount, the same volume, everything, will that be sped up? And if so, how much will be sped up?
Well, that's where we get into phase two. This is going to get us up to par to where we need to be. And then Jason's been working on us the new air. He's been working on the new aeration and also a holding basin where we can add chemical treatment if need be. And so those things will keep us good to go in the future, as long as ADM can bring down their pre-treatment, can bring down what they bring to us to a reasonable level.
Time frame on phase two?
Yeah. And that holding tank, will we treat it in the holding tank, Michael?
Yeah.
Okay. Before we release it into the lagoon.
Correct. And we can release it at a constant and controlled rate, which will help.
Yeah, so can you hear me?
Yeah, you're on.
We took a quote from a company that specializes in lagoons and sewer treatment, and aeration particularly. And it's the same deal, like Josh mentioned, 20-year design life was your plant, which they reconfigured your lagoons at that time. And actually, the presumption is that they were dredged at that time because they had to be drained and reconfigured. So that's still probably happened that way, but I don't know for sure. But 20 years has passed, so it's time. Same thing with aeration. So those systems have, just like anything that's designed, it's 20-year design life. And with the conditions changing, you want a better system. So I'm not sure if we've sent you guys any information specific to that yet, but I can collect all that.
The point is our capital improvement program. There will still be some additional things that will need to take place to extend the life and cost. That's kind of that's the bad news.
Right.
The good news is that you have an extra $1 million right now in the coffers. If we're at 3 million and we believe that the cash balance is half a million, you take one, we've got an extra $1 million, which is right now, which is good for our laid out capital costs, and we can bring that capital costs, to keep it up to snuff, and it's good for the rate payers too, because
right, without raising rates.
Yeah, so those items that needed to be done anyway, regardless of the sludge, taking care of the sludge, we'll bring that forward.
All right, Jeff, I'll ask you time frame on phase two.
But I'm not sure of the phase two. I don't have, I haven't been here long enough to know the capital.
Jason, are you saying that might not have been dredged 20 years ago?
Like I said, because they reconfigured the lagoons, they would have had to. But there's nobody could recall or,
There's no documentation
sure,
that it was
but
done.
The odds are that it probably was. So over 20 years, the accumulation of sludge with normal operations is pretty standard.
But the good news is, three good news. One is we've got the cash to do the project. Two, this will solve the problem, as witnessed by these gentlemen here in their patented program. And I can't remember my third.
All right, Bo, I can't remember. Bo, I got a quick question on the contract. If less sludge than anticipated is removed, the cost will be reduced accordingly. What is accordingly?
So here's the deal. How we bill is we're paid a performance. And what we'll do is we'll go out there when we'll know where that number is before we get you out there. But we get paid at the halfway mark as we're moving this, and then we get paid at the end of it. If for some reason there's something in there toward the end that we can't, now I will tell you, I haven't failed yet. So I got 100% success rate right now.
You'll know at the beginning if it's working, and once it starts working,
I'm gonna make it work one way or the other. But that being said, so when we bring you down to about that 6-inch level, and then we won't charge you for anything over that. When we get down where we think we're there. We'll get you out there, and then we'll do it. We'll charge you when we're done.
But for some reason, if you, this won't happen, but it'll get down 2 or 3 inches. We're just at 55,000. That's it. You're not charging us for 2 or 3
That's
inches.
it. If for some reason that I can't fix this, you won't see a bill from us.
Now, is there going to be smell and stuff during this process?
No, I'm gonna take most of that smell out real quick.
Okay.
Jeff, will we be aggressively continuing on Brad? Maybe you can answer these peroxide treatments, and how consistently are we going after that to make sure that, that as much as daily, that until this process is done, that we don't have the issue.
Okay, well, one, we are continuing the peroxide situation. The third point I was going to make is that ADM, it's in their interest. They'll be backing off, but we've got a good dialogue with ADM, and they're looking at the potential of putting in that peroxide at the point there rather than us putting it in. And one, it might be more effective, but in the scheme of things, the peroxide number is a small number of the total cost.
Well, I understand that, but my concern is one day of that smell is one day too many. And if we need to continue to do that, I was just wanting to know how regularly is it being addressed, so that this fix of the peroxide until the main fix can be done with AMS. How frequently, how much attention is that getting from city staff?
Go ahead, Michael.
Hey, this is Michael. We're feeding a constant feed rate of 50 milliliters per minute every day, 24/7. And then in addition to that, if we come in and it's like, wow, really smells today, then we're giving it a large dosage all at once in addition to that constant feed. And we'll continue that same scheme up to about a week after Bo gets started, and then we're gonna back it off because at that point his treatment process is going to be doing the trick.
Microbials.
Okay.
Can
Yeah,
ADM, can ADM stuff not be put in cell 2 or 3?
I don't need it. Put it in 1. You're fine.
I just meant in the meantime.
Better put it right. That's why that's there. We actually put a couple extra units to handle that as it comes in. And also answer your question, sir. What we'll do is as we start seeing dissolved oxygen come up in your system, as the microbes get in there and get established and they start doing their growth logs, you'll start seeing DO, dissolved oxygen, come up in your system. That's when Michael will have the green light to start backing that off.
So since we don't have the aerator in there, is that going to affect
You do have aerators.
They have the existing.
Yeah.
functioning?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, this is nothing with AMS. So I'm going to kind of switch gears a little bit. On the ADM contract, Michael, in that section where it says we give 30-day notice if it's above our treatment ability, do you think we've hit that at any point in the last 6 months? Where's above our ability to
we're
treat?
above our ability to treat. That's why things have gone sour on
And
us.
you gave a 30-day notice to them?
No, but we have.
Explain why or why not?
Well, because as soon as we became aware, we began working on a solution, and now this is a solution.
So while the solution is happening, do you think we need to issue that and back off, or are you fine with accepting all that while the solution is happening?
Yeah, we're going to be able to handle it while the solution's happening.
100% we can handle it while the solution's happening. So
And based on our conversations, I believe that in 60 days they'll be backing off. That's what they suggest.
well, I know what they suggested. I would just recommend, you say 30 days, we'll know for sure at the latest. So I would recommend sending out that 30-day letter no matter what, saying we have a solution in place. For some reason, it does not work. We're going to have you do this, but we'll know within that 30 days. More than likely, we'll give you a notice saying, hey, we don't need you to back off. So that would be my suggestion to do in the meantime. I trust you and everything, but just as a precautionary thing. So
This is your game. You guys play it how you want to play it. I have all the confidence in the world what we're getting ready to do.
I think we'll see something in 30 days.
I don't think it'll take 2 weeks to be honest with you. But I gotta get them on site, and I gotta get them producing microbes.
When can you start?
I could have units start coming here first next week.
We've got to get the electricity, and that may be because this is an emergency, that may be $30,000 to make sure we get the transformers and all of that, but I'll take care of that. Because
Do you
they
feel-
get,
I
they,
mean, and I know we use one person out there, but will you please reach out to more than one if it's an emergency, just so we make sure the bill's in line? We're not being gouged, you know what I'm saying? So there's more than one person in town that can handle this. I know we use one and not very good or whatever, but just as due diligence, please reach out to more than one.
yeah,
So,
we'll take care of it.
Give them a time frame that they have to have a bid in. Quick turnaround if they
Well,
can.
here's the situation. We have a situation where they have reached out to an electric company already, and because of that fact, because they're here, it's 2 weeks instead of 3 weeks, and so therefore, regardless of how we do it, if I make an emergency or 33 or tack it on to his bill, we've got to have electricity so he can do his job.
But the 2 weeks instead of 3 weeks was just one company, right?
It's
I mean, you could have called another company and they could have said a year and a week. You just called one
This
company.
is the
I don't know.
transformers, right?
Pardon?
That was one of the lead times was transformers.
It was 3 weeks. It was
I know
3.
we gave them multiple companies that we deal with, the transformers. We gave them multiple ones, and I know that electrical contractor made calls. And
Hey, Bo,
try to get as fast.
slide that. Slide your mic just a little bit closer.
Move your mic closer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
sorry.
telling me they
Oh,
can't
we
There you
have
go.
some
I'm sorry.
crappy ass
It's all
mics,
good.
so we need to get IT on that or something.
But the point is we need to act now, and so staff recommends that the council approve this contract so that we can start the clock working to solve the situation.
Perfect. Do you have any other questions?
I have no other questions.
Tim, do you have any other questions?
I don't have any other questions, Josh.
All right.
Thanks for asking, but it's the one thing I do want, and is, you know, people of town are upset, rightfully so. I think as this process moves forward, if we vote and approve this contract today, Jeff and Brad, I'd like to see updated posts out there on the city's social media sites.
Can we have
What the
updated?
process is.
Can we have updates? We meet the next 2 weeks. Can we have updates?
we'll
the next two
we'll-
city council meetings.
Yes, we'll
And then-
continue to keep you and the public updated on the process.
Okay, I think that's key, that it comes to what's actually happening and what's actually going on, comes from the voice of the city staff. We as commissioners get questions all the time, and you know, we want to make sure we have accurate information as well that you provide us. But I'm grateful we've got a plan in place we're going to vote on, but I think it's key at this point to make sure that from the city perspective that we're keeping the public informed.
Well, but you'll find, just as a personal note, as your city manager, you will, before every city council meeting, you'll have a report of what's happened, and that immediately goes out to the public at the same time it's going to you, and that's just my particular style, and we'll look at other media outlets if we need to keep the public informed.
Yeah, and I just want to say, I know there's a big uproar in the public. I mean, you can blame me for it. I mean, not asking the right questions over the last 6-8 months, focused on the budget. Didn't know the question to ask, but honestly, it falls back on me and the rest of us for not asking the right questions. So,
Well,
other than that, I don't know what to say, but I will make the motion to accept this.
I just want to ask a question. You talked about the electric, is that for a permanent setup or for a temporary on electrical?
Well, he asked the question: is the electrical permanent or temporary? And it can be either. I mean, if we leave it there, it can be permanent.
Would it be faster to bring in generator? I really don't like generators to use them. If you know, if something would happen and the generator goes out, then we have an issue where my microbes inside our units would die off, that type of thing.
Well,
I like it consistent.
I mean, we want you to be comfortable with whatever you do, because we don't want to be in the way of you
I really want
Not-
consistent. I want electric.
Yeah. So, yeah, so I'll make.
That's a good. I mean, that's a good point, and we've thought about that before.
All right, I'll make the motion to accept the contract from.
Josh, we have
Evans.
one more question.
Oh, sorry about that.
I'm just wondering, how much has the amount that is being brought in, how much has that increased over the last 6 months, 7 months? You said we've got so much more money that would mean that they're bringing.
Well, the contract changed 6 or 7 months ago, so a lot of that was from
The fines. and-
how they were paying. So a lot of it's not necessarily volume, which I do think every once in a while they are bringing in more. But a lot of that, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, is from the renegotiated contract. Is that right? So that's one reason why you see so much more funds coming in is from the renegotiated contract that expired in February.
So you can, but you don't know how much.
I think Mike, or can you get those numbers just sometime?
Yeah.
Jeff,
Yeah.
sorry, Jeff, can you get those
Well,
numbers?
Yeah, there's, well, go ahead, there's two factors. There's the strength that they're being penalized on and also the volume. And that's why, and the dollars give you an idea. I mean,
Yeah. So both the volume and the strength doubled around the first of the year. However, they are going to be cutting back on that, as indicated by our visit yesterday.
But we're gonna go ahead and, are we gonna?
My question is, why wouldn't the city decide what you want them to cut back to and send the 30-day notice?
Well, I think that's what I asked a little bit ago, and I assume we don't need a motion for that, do we? Do we need a motion for that to make sure it gets done?
we will have a letter that goes out to them. We're
Go ahead,
they're
Jason.
trying to solve the problem as well as we're
I,
trying.
I understand that. We're all trying to solve the problem, but sometimes the problem doesn't get solved.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you do,
Well, we
other
had
steps.
already, Josh, if you remember, you were sitting in a meeting, we talked about sending a letter documenting the situation, and we'll do that.
And from our point of view, we can, if that we're talking about, violations of limits and stuff. So I'm going to help Michael and Jeff draft a letter, kind of review it, all of us, and make sure it's what we want. And we have an idea, back to this phase 2 thing with aeration, we have an idea of what that improvement will handle. So we have a number that we want to target. It's a matter of, we need to discuss how long.
because if you're playing the odds, even if they wanted to get better, if you're playing the odds, they're going to be here for a long time. At some point, it might get out of
Right.
thing again. So we need to just make sure that our long-term phase can handle that.
Yeah, so we're definitely thinking about continuing operations long-term and what we can do that's going to be effective for the future, even if they leave. We don't want to build something that treats this crazy strength stuff and they leave and now we're like, well, we don't want to do that either. That's where the storage tank is important in conjunction with this aeration. So we've been working through all that, and I can basically, you asked about lead times on aeration, they're still, as of 3 weeks ago, they could be going with phase 1, I think, in a month, and then the full cell 2 and 3 would be another 12 to 14 weeks to start and then get that going. And I think we talked to Bo really briefly about, can they deal with reinstalling the new aeration while he's doing his work, and I think that's a yes. So we can get those numbers. I want to have them ready for your next meeting so you can have them and start
That's Tuesday.
looking. Yeah. So we've got numbers. I need an official proposal broke down, and we'll send that prior to your meeting.
Go ahead.
All right, I'll make the motion to accept the contract from AMS as presented.
I second.
Yes.
It should be Josh first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep. Yes.
Sorry. Yes. It's okay.
Jeff, Bo, you guys have anything else for us? Mike?
it's time to get to work.
All right. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.